So the high vibe, the low vibe, and the attitude needed for transcendence. The high vibe would be a rhythmic and consistent energy of being able to generate these creative movements, juices, coming from your internal awareness of yourself. Once you learn to connect with your body, you become aware of this internal movement that then creates the flow to stay fluid and really generate the energy and the energy that we need. And that'll make you feel a sense of satisfaction, being able to complete and move through projects, creative inspirations.
Yeah, when you're spending a full day expending your energy in a way that feels really healthy and aligned to you, you're designed to just fall into bed at the end of the day, just using up all of your energy and feeling completely satisfied.
Mm-hmm. And that's when we're in alignment with ourselves. When you're out of alignment, you might experience grievances and you might find yourself complaining that you're not getting what you want. And if you catch yourself in a state of self-pity or degrading of where you think that you should be, which you're making decisions with your mind, you're thinking that you need to be somewhere where you're not, and you find yourself, because you're not getting that instant pleasure, satisfaction of finding your life purpose in the now moment, like, oh, why isn't it here yet? And you find yourself in a place of self-pity. What you need to recognize in order to move out of that is having resilience and having faith and trust in yourself and pulling yourself out of that by moving the energy, whatever that means to you. Find ways to move your energy in creative, self-satisfying ways for you. If you're not happy with where you're at, instead of putting all that energy and all that negativity of complaining that things aren't happening fast enough, or, do something more productive. Scripting a new narrative to reprogram your mind, to take the replacement of those complaining negative thoughts. Using different tools to generate a positive energy. Resilience of yourself in being able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and transforming that energy, transmuting that energy within inside of yourself to raise into that vibration of being consistent and rhythmic and really getting those consistent movements and fluidity going, which then results in your satisfaction.
Yeah, and there can be great power in even just starting to incorporate things that do make you excited throughout your day. So even if, let's say, you can't change your job situation right now, but it's something that's not bringing you joy, there are very subtle ways that you can start incorporating those things into your day, whether it's, making sure you take 30 minutes to go rock climbing every day, or making sure that you go to your favorite yoga class, or whatever it is, making sure that you start to incorporate those things into your day, because I think we often think that, our work life is separate from our relationship, which is separate from our hobbies, but actually our aura and our energy is pulling from all of those things all at once. So the more that you're leaning into the things that you really enjoy, the more you're basically telling your energy and the universe, these are the things that I like, please bring me more of this. I have several really good generator friends who have felt really, really stuck in their jobs or in their relationships or in their family situations, and they can't necessarily control that, but what they can control is they say no to going to a lunch or a dinner that they feel obligated to go to, and instead they go for a bike ride because that's something that they really enjoy. Every time that you say yes to one of those things, you're just reinforcing what it is you actually do want.
I love that. I think that's a fantastic way of rechanneling the energy. And also we're giving you permission now to make selfish choices. If that is something that would bring you more pleasure, it's okay to say no to obligations that aren't in alignment. Now, granted, how to be of service to others, but then also being of service to yourself. And it's being able to navigate that fine line of, is this really, sure, there are certain things that we all need to do that we're not entirely fond of, but choosing those things, discovering what doesn't fit, and choosing more, and then the universe is allowing us more opportunities to do what we love. Obviously, family obligations.
Yeah, and it's not to say that you quit your job and you move and you break up with your significant other and you do all of that overnight. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying, how can you every day maybe pick one thing that doesn't excite you and say no to that so that you can make room for something else. There's an author named Bob Goff, and I don't know what his type is, but I feel like he has to be a generator because he has this thing, he calls it quit something Thursdays. Like every Thursday he quits something to make room for something new, which I think is really beautiful.
I love that.
The other thing too is when you're doing something that doesn't light you up, you essentially have 3 choices, right? So you can either find a way to delegate that out to somebody else, you can find a way to say no to it altogether, or you can find a way to make it fun, right? So it's like, if you need to vacuum your house but you don't like to vacuum your house, like you can either like pay somebody to do it for you. You can either like not do it and your house starts to build up filth, which is not the best option, or you can find ways that you can make that a little bit more fun. So you can play music while you do it, or you can make it into a game somehow, or whatever it is you need to do. So there's always options to work with the things in life that, you know, aren't necessarily ideal, but, you know, are just a part of life.
Yeah, and it's all about tapping in with your inner child and finding the pleasure and the play even in the adult world that we find ourselves in. Because we all essentially are really we're just big kids. Yeah. Pretending to be adults.
Yeah.
And so finding that pleasure and the play, going with that to be in the flow and continuing the movement.
Yeah.
Being fluid. So each type has superpowers and gifts and then also challenges. We're going to talk about these superpowers, and the first superpower that you have is the ability for self-actualization, self-realization, and knowing when enough is enough.
So huge. The rest of us who aren't generators or manifesting generators, we don't have that natural meter of knowing when we've had maybe too much to eat or we've overexerted our bodies. And for you, you get to do those things and your body kind of naturally tells you when you've like run out of energy or like when you've had too much of something.
Or too much of a crowd, too much, too much food, too much. You just have a general knowing and you get to self-regulate and you get to know what feels right and what doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And you have that natural inclination.
Yeah, like I have a friend who I went out to lunch with her and it's like she ordered a chocolate cake and then it's like then she didn't have chocolate cake for like 6 months. That was just like what was bringing her pleasure and joy in the moment, so she went with it, and then like her body was just like, yeah, I've had my share of that and now I don't need it.
Totally satisfied.
Yeah, totally satisfied. Amazing. So your second superpower is your generative capacity and your capacity to literally uplift other people and be a giant magnet. When you're generating your energy and you're in your flow, you don't even have to leave the room. Like people are going to naturally be magnetized to you and you get to be like this big warm teddy bear.
This warm and fuzzy enveloping aura,
Generators
cozy.
are so like about their people too.
And the third superpower, it's you are the builder. Like you have this ability to create and make things happen and build the structure that we all need to bring the dreams to life. Like you have this enduring energy that keeps the energy flowing and fluid and these ideas, and you can bring them down into the lower chakras, which then make things material. Like creating children, which takes 1 + 1, multiplies, and then it becomes the third. You have that natural energy because of this definition. You get to take the elements and then make something with it and have this ability.
And it's not always so literal in what you're building. So like, yes, you can be like literally working in construction and building things like my stepdad does. Or you can be creating art, or I even know a lot of generators who are therapists and counselors and doctors, and so they're literally like creating strength and resilience in other people by what they're doing and by their healing presence. So it's not always, like I said, it's not always so literal.
Yes, exactly. That goes for everything. There's a lot of fluidity in the languaging as well. So it's not so black and white. It's not so literal.
With every type, there's high vibes, there's low vibes, there's superpowers, and there's challenges. But with the challenges, bring self-awareness and opportunities to transcend those challenges.
One of the big challenges is receiving and not initiating. That is first and foremost probably the biggest challenge. And it's practicing receiving and trusting and having resilience that the universe is going to be providing something for you. So this is all part of the experiment. What about if you're watching this video and you're finding that you do initiate? What would happen if you focus on the things that light you up and not initiating and waiting for the signs, synchronicities, and clues to come at you and be received by you? What would receiving look like? The sacral center is receptive. It's a very yin center. So that's also a very receptive energy.
Yeah. And with that is the opposite side of the coin, which is the second challenge, which is really understanding what it means to respond and knowing that it doesn't mean that you just like sit on your couch and wait for things to come to you. It's like you actually have to get out in life and like experiment with things and play with things and figure out what you like and what you don't like. And it's through that experimentation that you actually allow those things to come to you for you to respond to.
The other challenge is you might find yourself, if things aren't going the way or things aren't happening fast enough or you're not getting that instant gratification, you might find yourself in a negative thought spiral or negative energy spiral. So what you can focus on is staying positive and optimistic, and there are tools and things that you can do to be generative about rewriting the energies or the thought patterns that are in your mind. So staying positive, waiting and trusting and having faith that what you want and what you need is being magnetized to you because it is how you are designed. You are literally a magnet.
Another thing that I find that generators can sometimes struggle with is that they can sometimes be a little bit stuck in their ways, especially around manifestors and manifesting generators, because those types in particular are really here to help us evolve and move into new processes. Generators, they really like their process. They're kind of here to show us where we came from and what has worked in the past, whereas manifestors and manifesting generators are here to like model for us where we're going. So long as you understand that you maybe have a process that's worked for you in the past and just being a little open-minded to maybe I can evolve a little bit and I can ride this wave of evolution with the people in my life who are manifestors and manifesting generators, because if I stay open-minded about it, I may actually realize that that new process actually is even better, right? Because we're kind of all here to be a piece of the puzzle. You're here to be a little bit more grounded, whereas other types may be here to push things forward. So as long as you understand that we're all here to work together, then it can be a really beautiful thing.
I love that. Yeah.
And then another common challenge is, like we've talked about, like saying yes to too many things that should be no's. And then again, using other things that maybe numb you out, that distract you from the things that aren't lighting you up. So just being aware that that may be happening, because understanding that things don't light you up is an important part of your process, because you have to confront those first in order to make space within you to say yes to the things that actually do light you up.
Yeah. It's clearing out the old and bringing in the new. To keep the flow flowing. Yeah. It's the mantra. It's the generator mantra.
Keep the flow flowing.
Keep the flow flowing.
With your rhythmic magnetism.
Yeah, I love that. Keep the flow flowing with your rhythmic magnetism. That's great. So thank you so much for participating and purchasing this course. We hope that you have gained a lot out of it and that you have learned some new things about yourself or people in your life. If you have any questions, we do have a comment section within this course that you can throw out ideas and read what people have commented.
Put personal experiences, because we love to learn from other people and we all learn from each other. So we welcome your feedback and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes. Thanks so much.
Thank you.